A journey of pain and hope, the rescue of a little warrior. Abandonment is one of the cruelest forms of suffering for an animal, and this little dog felt the weight of human contempt firsthand. When she was found, her fragile body was riddled with disease, reflecting a lifetime of neglect and suffering. Extreme malnutrition left her visibly thin, with bones protruding from her dry skin. Ticks and fleas infested every inch of her body, draining the little energy she had left. In addition to the devastating external conditions, her body was also deeply compromised. Her swollen abdomen indicated serious internal problems, and tests confirmed the worst suspicion: severe liver failure, accompanied by widespread inflammation in the stomach. Her digestion was so impaired that she could not ingest even small amounts of food or water. Every time she tried to eat, her body refused sustenance, making her recovery even more difficult. The rescue and the beginning of treatment. We knew that this little dog would not survive for long without urgent veterinary care. Every minute counted, and her life was hanging by a thread. She was immediately taken to a specialized clinic where she began intensive treatment. The first step was to stabilize her. The removal of the parasites began immediately, alleviating some of the discomfort they were causing. Her hydration levels were critical, and she needed to be put on a drip to replace the fluids and nutrients she was so lacking. Even in such a weakened state, she surprised everyone with her sweetness. Her gaze showed a mix of fragility and hope, as if, even after so much suffering, she still believed that she could be saved. Despite the pain and extreme fatigue, her gentle nature remained intact. The veterinarians began a rigorous protocol to treat her compromised organs, seeking to restore liver function and relieve stomach inflammation. Every day was a battle. Her body was still very weak, but little by little, signs of improvement began to appear. The turning point in recovery. After days of monitoring and dedication, the response to the treatment began to become visible. Her energy, previously non-existent, began to return. Small advances, such as being able to eat on her own or lift her head without difficulty, were celebrated as great achievements. 2 weeks later, the transformation was impressive. That little dog who was once fragile and on the verge of death now showed vitality. Her dull gaze gave way to a more lively and curious expression. The swelling in her abdomen had reduced significantly, allowing her to move around more comfortably. Her appetite, previously non-existent, was restored, and she finally began to gain weight. With her body strengthened and her health stabilized, her personality began to shine. Now, she was a playful, affectionate, and joyful little dog. She ran around the room, explored every corner, and sought affection from everyone around her. A future full of hope. What seemed impossible has become reality. The little warrior has won the battle against death and is now ready to start a new life. The suffering of the past is behind her, and before her lies the promise of a future full of love and care. Her next step will be to find a home where she can live safely, surrounded by the affection she has always deserved. After everything she's faced, she will finally have the chance to be just a happy little dog, free from the pain and hardships that marked her past. This story is proof that every life matters and that love and care can transform destinies. Her rescue was not only an act of compassion, but the opportunity to offer a second chance to a being who, despite everything, never stopped believing. Now, all this little warrior needs is a family that loves her unconditionally and is willing to provide her with a life full of happiness and security. Her new beginning has begun, and it promises to be beautiful.